sunny skies in Southern California as San Diego gets set to host AFC West rival Denver. The Broncos win the division if they win here today. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz along with Phil Simms. And what about the Chargers coming off a loss against New England? What must they do here today?
Well, they know they're up against a team that's playing well in all phases of the game. The Chargers, real simple. Can they find a way to hit Peyton Manning, throw him off rhythm, and can they protect Phillip Rivers so he can throw the football down the field a little bit?
You mentioned Manning. We've got some breaking news on Peyton. Let's go down to the field with Tracy Wolfson.
Well, thanks, Jim. I was walking around the field earlier and noticed that Peyton Manning was not participating in his normal pregame warm-ups. I was told by a source close to the team that he was feeling under the weather right now. We met with him yesterday. He seemed fine, but I was told he did not participate in team meetings last night. He was receiving IV treatment. He will play. Just remains to be seen how effective he will be out there. Jim?
All right, thank you. So under the weather for Peyton. Of course, everybody's been talking about how they've been emphasizing the ground game in Denver. And what about what you expect out of Peyton sick today?
Well, you know what? Sometimes when you're sick, it makes you focus even more. So we'll see if it's a factor. But I did watch him warm up a little bit after I heard the news. And I'm going to tell you, it was about three-quarter speed at most, really preserving energy. That's what I saw.
All right, Phil, this game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. Drying out in the entire state of California after the mega storm came through here, dumped a whole lot of rain on the entire Golden State Thursday and Friday. I'll tell you, the first thing I noticed looking out there is how much support the Broncos are going to have in this building. There's a lot of orange here today, Phil.
It almost looks like a Denver home game when you look in the stands, and their ovation for their team was bigger than the one the Chargers got when they came onto the field. Of course, that was a big issue last week for Phillip Rivers with New England.
He had to go silent count in a home game.
In his home game. So it'll be interesting to see if Peyton Manning tries to quiet his fans down a little bit.
San Diego won the toss and defers. So Nick Novak ready to deliver the football to Omar Bolden. These teams meeting for the second time of the season. Denver beat him 35-21 in October. And here's Bolden breaking out of the first hit. And going down near the 34. So Peyton Manning coming out again, as Tracy reported, under the weather. Seeing his streak of 51 games with a touchdown pass broken last week against Buffalo. Here's his offensive line and Will Montgomery as they have gone heavy on the ground the last 3 weeks. Montgomery's been a big part of it. Emmanuel Sanders had a 3-touchdown game in that first game against the Chargers, a Thursday night affair back on October the 23rd. So they've got a sixth offensive lineman for this first snap. It's Chris Clark. Lined up on the right side. C.J. Anderson limited at times this week in practice. He's the running back, and he gets the carry. Bounces outside and has a nice gain. Anderson. He was at first going to ride right behind Montgomery and then popped out to the left side for 9. Here is the San Diego defense that did a good job last week, Phil, against New England. They had a lot of very bright spots in that game. Melvin Ingram was not in the first affair against Denver. And Brandon Flowers also missed that game. That's one reason why Sanders had the 3-touchdown game. We'll see a lot of Brandon Flowers we expect today on Sanders. 2nd and 1. And Anderson with the flag out. He's got the yardage for the first down. It looked like San Diego jumped.
Offside. Defense, number 54.
It was Ingram.
It's a 5-yard penalty.
Well, Jim, it's really interesting just to see the start of this game. And compared to the game they played early in the year on a Thursday night, that game, Denver's offense was spread out. San Diego's defense was spread out. And here we start this game to show you how Denver's changed. They're very compact with their formations. And look at all the people near the line of scrimmage for the San Diego Chargers.
So they take the 5 yards, better than the 2-yard rush by Anderson. And out to the 48. on first down. Play action. Ingram coming from behind, and he strips it away from Manning, but it's fallen on by Ryan Clady for the recovery.
How quick was that by Melvin Ingram? This is what he can do for the defense. That's what they need more than anything. Coming from Peyton Manning's left all the way outside, the speed. They need a guy to hit the quarterback, cause fumbles, and get those turnovers. They're so close with Ingram and Dwight Freeney getting this done. Melvin Ingram last week was awesome against the New England Patriots. Remember, he sacked Tom Brady and kept them to a field goal near the goal line.
Boy, did he show some speed getting around a Pro Bowl left tackle and Clady. 2nd and 19. Back to the ground, Anderson. Teo in on the tackle along with Legit. John Fox trying to deliver for Denver a 4th straight division title. Could get it with a win here today. Only one other coach in the history of the league has won the division his first 4 years with a team, and that was Chuck Knox, who actually went on to win his first 5 years. He won division titles.
Situation like this, you expect the Broncos to be somewhat conservative, and it looks like San Diego is going to play a very soft, safe defense.
3rd and 17. An interesting call here. They go to the ground with Anderson picking up 2 more, and again Teo on the tackle, and Denver picks up 1 first down and then is forced to punt.
Yeah, it was really a good call, Jim, and here's why. Why throw it and let that pass rush get more confidence? And Peyton Manning, of course, would have to try to hold the football to throw it down the field. And if Manning's not feeling well, why let him take another hit?
Keenan Allen, there he is, standing back at the 10, waiting for the Britton Colquitt punt. Short punt. Allen has to come up and make a leaping catch at about the 28. And now Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. Blank last week in the second half. They'll come out in a moment. All right, quarterback Phillip Rivers breaks huddle. His running back today, as you see, Rivers 142 consecutive starts. His running back is Brandon Oliver. Ryan Matthews inactive, out with an ankle injury. And Oliver, rookie out of the University of Buffalo, grasped in a hurry by Brandon Marshall, but falls forward for 4. It has been an injury-riddled year for this offensive line, particularly at center, as Chris Watt, the rookie from Notre Dame, is the 4th different center this year. Gates, who was not out there for the first play, he had a 2-touchdown game in the first matchup against the Broncos, and Gates has come out for this 2nd down play. Eddie Royal also on the field as Phillip Rivers spreads him out. 2nd and 5. And pass incomplete. Was looking for Keenan Allen. Chris Harris on the coverage. Jack Del Rio's defense. This is quite a stout team against the rush. Terrence Knight, a big reason why. Space eater. Brandon Marshall already been in on 1 tackle, plus Danny Trevathan. We're going to be seeing him. He's back on the roster after being down on the IR, designated the return list. And Harris, who just was in on that last coverage. As you see Del Rio off a new contract for Harris this week. Trevathan is actually on the field. See him standing there at the 37-yard line. 3rd and 5 as Rivers has time, and now just throws it over the head in the general direction of Keenan Allen. 3 and out for San Diego.
Well, he had time, there's no doubt. There's a good start by the San Diego offensive line, but the problem is when you play the Broncos, they can cover. Aqib Talib, Chris Harris, I think they got caught on that first pass play. They thought that would be against the rookie Bradley Roby, but the Broncos came out and switched those defenders, and it had to be against Chris Harris.
Wes Welker is the return man. Isaiah Burse had handled those chores most of the season, but was waived and then returned to the practice squad, the rookie from Fresno State. So it's now Welker, the veteran.
False start. Offense. Number 53. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Here's the big story here when you see San Diego today punting. They have a new punter in Matt McBriar, the first punter other than Mike Cyphris to kick the football for the Chargers in over 10 years, since back in a game in 04. Cyprus, who had a fractured clavicle, suffered on a vicious hit last week against New England, forcing Nick Novak into emergency duty as a there's McGuire, the longtime Cowboy. Low kick. Welker shakes off the first hit, but not the second one. Jira Tutu on the tackle. Big coming back out. Indianapolis and New England have already clinched their divisions with victories today. Denver would like to join them here in San Diego.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Amazon's new Fire HD, powerful tablet, endless entertainment. And by Honda, where you can get great deals during Happy Honda Days.
Broncos are at the line for their second series. Anderson, the running back. Julius Thomas, who is up, has not been in on a snap so far. They go with the extra lineman, Chris Clark, once again on that right side. And it's Anderson for about 5, ridden down by Donald Butler, the head coach of the Chargers in his second year. Mike McCoy served 4 years as an offensive coordinator in Denver. Took his team to the playoffs his rookie season.
Well, he knows this Denver team well. When you look at it today, of course, was a coach for Peyton Manning. And this Denver offense, what do they want to do? Run the football, get the offensive line involved. But Peyton Manning, and we know from the last couple weeks, they want to get these receivers into the game as fast as they can.
And Anderson has the first down. So far, 5 rushes and 1 play where they attempted to pass, but the ball was stripped out of Manning's hands. Here's what Anderson's done. You look at weeks 12 through 14, he actually had more scrimmage yards than any other player in the league during the month of November. Over 700 yards rushing and receiving.
But listen, that St. Louis Rams game got this team and changed them. They got the offensive line. They've gotten more aggressive. They're running the football. And C.J. Anderson taking advantage of it with fresh legs and talent.
This emphasis on running the football, getting that offensive line in rhythm. And now looking to throw his first pass. Manning on target to Demaryius Thomas, who had a 3-touchdown game here a year ago. And he is finally chased out of bounds by Flowers, but it picks up 36.
Play action pass. They did this the last time they played. They stacked the receivers so you can't get up there and bump him. And when you can't touch him, look how fast he is. And Brandon Flowers, nobody in the middle to help him. Peyton Manning to play action. You got to honor the run now. Plenty of time. And when he had time in their first meeting, he hit Demaryius Thomas going across the field a couple times.
From just outside the red zone, it's Anderson taking into the red zone down to the 18. Find the perfect gift for the sports fan on your gift list. Beat the crowds, get free shipping when you shop CBS Sports today. Take advantage of the free shipping offer, cbssports.com/holiday.
Now you talk about this San Diego defense. Last time it was just trying to stop the big pass plays and the tackle. Now you must honor the run game. Maybe not here with 5 wide receivers.
Wes Welker, one of those receivers coming in. And Virgil Green lined up to the right. They're going left side instead. It's Anderson with the first down, picked up inside of the 10.
Now they do such a good job with the screen game. It can go either way. Oh, and it's a quick snap, and they are not down and ready. But Peyton Manning looks at each side, and it basically just comes to this. Go to where there's less defenders, and that time it was to his left. So he quick snapped them. Great with the snap count, doing quick snaps. And when the opportunity is there, he will make you jump off sides too with a hard count.
Recent road games, they've had a hard time finishing off drives in the red zone, finding the end zone, 3 out of 12. But now on first and goal, Anderson tumbles down to the 1. A die tripped him up, but Anderson showing a good burst, and it's going to be 2nd and goal just a yard away.
So many good things here. Watch 74, Orlando Franklin. And how about Will Montgomery? Helps double team and then gets off. Watch the center, knock him out of the way, and then gets Gatchard just enough. But this offensive line, man, are they rough and tough. They wanted to get this accomplished, and they've done it.
From the gun, Sanders to the left. Manning going right, and in traffic, it's incomplete. Trying to find Demarius Thomas.
Yeah, that was almost risky. The one thing the Chargers have done, and maybe not to great success, because the Broncos, Jim, in their passing game, they execute so well, but they've done a good job against some of the quick screens.
Julius Thomas comes in for the first time in a month. He's been out since early action November 16th at St. Louis with a tender ankle. There he is, 12 touchdowns through the first 9 games of the season. Third and goal, and rolling out. Manning's pass. Intended for Thomas. Demarius.
Well, what they're doing, they're going to go 2 guys to the flat, and then they're going to have a receiver come over the top as the 3rd guy, and everybody is well covered. Remember the last time they played, Peyton pulled up and hit the receiver coming across the back of the end zone from behind. So Denver knows this offense well, and it showed on that sequence of plays.
But again, on the road, unable to finish off these drives in the red zone for the full effect. 19-yard field goal. Connor Barth is good. He's now 7 for 7 since signing with the Broncos on November 25th. Aerial coverage of this game is provided by DirecTV. You saw the Broncos 2nd and goal from just outside the 1, and they went with 2 pass plays, Phil.
Two pass plays. Kind of caught me by surprise because they were dominating up front. Anderson was running with power. Maybe they thought they'd catch the Chargers off guard, but the Chargers both times, they know some of these plays. They were part of the core that they run down near the goal line for the Broncos, and they covered them both well.
Think it had anything to do with, all the talk this week about how Peyton's streak came to an end. Yeah. They thought it might be a chance to go ahead and get him one early.
Yeah, catch them by surprise, with the play call. Hey, there's no doubt when you're running an offense, you want to get everybody into the game in rhythm. Your quarterback, your offensive line, and especially your receivers in Denver.
McManus's kick, a line drive to Chris Davis. Davis bounces off of Caldwell and then is taken down at the 23. We'll see the Chargers maybe a little more firepower the second time they have the football.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Game of War. Play free now. And by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL.
Jim Nance and Phil Simms and Tracy Wolfson back here in San Diego, and the Chargers. This is vitally important for them today with some other teams winning already in the early games, and they go to Oliver for no gain. With Pittsburgh and Baltimore already victorious, it definitely adds urgency to the San Diego cause. So you look at all these teams jockeying for playoff positions. Cleveland would be eliminated, by the way, if the Chargers won today, but already New England and Indianapolis have locked up division titles with victories, and Cincinnati with a shutout win over the Browns. 2nd and 10. This play is going to pick up about 5 for Oliver.
Jim, let's look at this San Diego offense. Now, you think Ryan Matthews not being out there in this game is a big deal. You're right, because it is big. He's their best runner on the offensive side. He can gain extra yards. He falls forward, and that's what they need. They need to be in these 3rd and 5 or less situations to help this offensive line and Phillip Rivers.
Well, he's had, talking about Matthews, always had good games, it seems, against the Broncos, including over 120 and a touchdown on a win last December at Denver. Here on 3rd down, Rivers in trouble. The ball comes out, and it's picked up by Von Miller.
It's definitely a pass.
I would think so, but the officials on the field are spotting it like it's a fumble recovery.
His arm was hit.
Malik Jackson had the pressure, and the ruling by Rolstad and crew is that that was a fumble and not an incomplete pass.
Is a fumble recovery by Denver.
Maybe I didn't see it, but pretty far away, but it looks like his hand's coming forward. And that's going to be a pass.
That's kind of an easy one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I thought I saw it from through the glass that we now have in front of us, which is new here, and which I'm not happy about.
Well, they were afraid you were going to fall out.
Is that it?
Yeah, it was for you. Keep you on balance, my friend.
I hear you. That's a good one.
So obviously a challenge flag's coming out.
Maybe last night I would have done it, but you know, I feel better today.
Craig Rolstad is coming out. And again, all turnovers are automatically reviewed, so no challenge necessary here for McCoy. Got to think this is going to be overturned.
After review, the ruling on the field is reversed. It is an incomplete pass. It will be 4th down and 5 at the 29-yard line. Timer, please put 5:37 on the game clock.
No question the hand was moving forward, Phil.
Moving forward, his arm is hit, the football comes out, and the receiver was not open anyway. Chris Harris once again has great coverage.
So McBriar will punt here on 4th down, and the Chargers 2 series and not a first down to this point. McBriar 8 years with the Cowboys and some brief stints in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Australian native. Well protected. This one again. Driving kick back to the 20 to Welker. And Weddle and others. In fact, Weddle looks like he's a little shaken up after delivering the blow. 51-yard punt.
Well, Jim, we talked about it. You know, you're down near the goal line. You got 2nd and short, and they go with the pass, a screen, which they've done many times, and it's worked. Then their favorite play, one of their favorite plays, they got so many, they go with something that worked the last time they played. So Chargers probably very happy they tried to pass instead of running, because, again, that last drive, I thought their offensive line was dominating up front.
Here's Thomas, Julius Thomas in motion on 1st down, moving to a wing on the right, and 1st down run it is. And Anderson's got 2, maybe 3. Well, how about all this talk about, as if it's shying away from Peyton, this philosophy of getting the ground game.
Well, let me straighten a few things out. You know, look, they won the games. You do what you have to do, Jim. 17 of 34 in Kansas City, high wins. The Buffalo defense, you respect it because of their pass rush. I thought he played well throwing the football down the field. Aaron Rodgers today against that same Buffalo defense. Remember who they played. 17 of 42, no touchdowns, 2 picks.
C.J. Anderson, short side, going to lose a yard or 2. That was very revealing today. The numbers that you just rattled off here for Rodgers at Buffalo, and very similar numbers to what Peyton actually was. 70% in that game. I mean, he had 25 incompletions today, did Rodgers, but like Peyton, no touchdowns and 2 picks. So I think you got to put it in perspective. You know, they come off the St. Louis game 3 games ago, and they realize, you know what, we need a better balance. We need to get this offensive line going and get some confidence going with them.
There's many things into this. One of the things is he didn't hit the ground last week against maybe one of the best pass rushes in the NFL, and running the football has definitely helped Denver's defense.
3rd and 9, and Welker has the catch and able to get across the 1st down yardage for a gain of 11.
Beautiful throw that time. Marcus Gilchrist is a safety who comes up, and he definitely gets past the 1st-yard marker, who plays the slot defender on 3rd downs. Now, I'll tell you what, and he can play corner if they need him to also, so very talented. Good job by Wes Welker getting open.
And Welker coming off his best game of the season last week against the Bills. 6 catches for 82 yards and looked fresh. Jawan Thompson's the running back, rookie out of Duke. He gets the carry, and he's got a gain of 3. Thompson, who had 2 touchdown plunges in the victory against San Diego up in the Mile High City in late October. Thursday night football, Titans at the Jaguars will be there for the final Thursday night game of the year.
Jacksonville played pretty well today against Baltimore, and Blake Bortles the last 3 weeks. Their quarterback is starting to figure it out in his rookie year.
2nd and 7 stacked up on the left side. Triplets. Running play it is again. Thompson, look at him get in the air and then takes a good hit to the midsection from a dive. It's a gain of 3.
I'll tell you, this defense, this is not the same defense that the Denver Broncos saw in that Thursday night game. So many people now healthy. We talked about Melvin Ingram up front, you know, and Dwight Freeney, when he comes into the game, he was limping in that first game. He's not limping anymore. He can be a problem. Now lining up over Ryan Clady, the left tackle.
Freeney, 10 years, a Peyton Manning teammate in Indianapolis. 3rd and 4. Stepping up, and that pass, well, they don't rule it, do they, on the field as an incompletion. The ball is on the ground. Ingram again comes in and hits Manning. Denver recovers, but again, I thought he might have had the arm going forward.
I thought he did too. Arm coming forward, arm is hit, the ball went forward.
Plus a flag on the play.
Now they're going to talk about, there's defensive holding, I think is the call, was the football hit.
Holding. Defense, number 37. It's a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Called on Jaleel Adai, and that'll put the football at the San Diego 46 with a new set of downs.
Look, it's tough. Let's watch Adai, 37, coming up. Hits Emmanuel Sanders. That's a hold. That's a good call. He grabs and turns him, and it's too far down the field.
C.J. Anderson returns. Gets the football again, and he's got a yard. I'm just curious, too, was that the right call in the first place, that it was a fumble, as Ingram has twice now gotten into Manning's face?
Whoa, that arm, that was really close. It did. The football did go forward, but I don't think his hand was moving forward. Immaterial, doesn't matter.
2nd and 9. We approach a minute to play in the first quarter. Anderson looked like he might be pulled down by Legit in the backfield, but is able to slip out of it for a gain of 3. Tomorrow on CBS, these geniuses don't fit in the world, but they're the only ones who can save it. New episode of Scorpion tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, only CBS America's #1 network. So another rather methodical approach offensively for the Broncos in this first quarter.
Well, Jim, I think they're respecting this pass rush. Like I said,
yep,
not the same defense. Ingram, Dwight Freeney, Atauchu.
3rd and 6. Run long for Julius Thomas, who makes the over-the-shoulder catch.
How about that throw? That was absolutely beautiful. The touch had to be perfect, and it was. Peyton Manning threw this football very high, and it came straight down, and that's why Julius Thomas, little hand fighting, nothing wrong on either side, is able to get that catch.
Well, Eric Weddle was right on him, but the pass was perfectly thrown by Peyton here.
Watch how high he throws it, and it drops straight down. That way, Thomas was able to catch it before he went out of bounds.
First down at the 12, and Anderson.
Eric Weddle, how about him? Julius Thomas, last week he covered Gronkowski, did a really good job. One of the best in the business.
3-0 after the first quarter. Broncos lead it. We'll return to San Diego after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. And again, a Bronco victory clinches the AFC West. A San Diego victory, and the Chargers would be in the 6th position. Clady's on the sideline. Chris Clark moves to left tackle. So we start the second quarter with a 2nd and 9, Denver. Set up the screen to Anderson. Mateo has him out of bounds near the 8. Let's go down to Tracy.
Thanks, Jim. You've been talking about getting this offensive line in sync, but as you saw, Ryan Clady, he's not been out in this series. He's dealing with a right thigh injury that they've been trying to work out. He's working on it right now on the sideline. His return is questionable. Jim?
Clady, who went out game 2 a year ago with a Liz Frank injury, and it was slow to recover even early in this season. So this is a new one for him to deal with. Clark, who ended up being the left tackle all the way up to the Super Bowl.
Well, since it's 3rd and longer than 5, they can play a conservative defense and try to tackle the receiver short of the end zone.
Chargers call a timeout before this 3rd and 6 snap. Coming out of a San Diego timeout, the Broncos have out-yardaged San Diego 129-10 to this point. And the Broncos are looking for the end zone here from the 8-yard line. 3rd and 6.
Broncos kind of spread out in the secondary right at the first down marker, hoping to keep everything in front.
Play action, Manning back of the end zone, and incomplete. Welker was the Bronco in the back of the end zone, and they'll call out Connor Barth for the 2nd time.
I don't think anybody gets open this time as we watch it. They keep Julius Thomas in the block. Here's the key. Great technique by Gilchrist. He stayed outside. He didn't go for the fake inside, and that's why he had Welker well covered. 2 very good stands by this Chargers defense.
So Barth made a 19-yarder.
Then they worried about pass protection, so that changes play calls.
And now from just 26 yards. Barth kicks it through again. So the Chargers without a single first down to this point, but down only 6. It is the last week to vote for the Pro Bowl. Select the best players regardless of conference. And then Chris Carter and Michael Irvin will draft teams as alumni captains. Vote now, NFL.com/Pro Bowl ballot. Voting ends Monday night.
I think they'll pick wide receivers first and quarterback second. Just a little thought I have.
There you go. So Davis not going to run this one out. McManus gets the touchback, and that's his job and duty. Former all-around kicking man for the Broncos, now just handling the kickoff chores and trying to get teams starting their drives at the 20, which he's just accomplished.
Well, this San Diego offense, the protection, he's had a little time, but let's just watch the receivers. We'll highlight them, and there is not 1 yard separation between any of these guys. So we worry about Phillip Rivers getting time to throw. Somebody's got to get open. I know this secondary is good, but can't send them all to the Pro Bowl after those first 2 series.
Play action, and Rivers has Oliver. He's tripped up in the open field by Von Miller.
Well, they were going to make sure that time, Jim, that they had time to throw. They brought in that time an extra tight end or an offensive lineman, Will Smith, just to make sure Phillip Rivers could turn and throw a short pass to his left.
So Rivers' first completion goes for 7 yards.
That's because why they bring him in? That was Von Miller's side.
And stuffed at the line is Oliver. 3rd down, coming up 3rd and a short 3.
Well, our guy, Terrence Knighton, Jim, we talked to him yesterday. He is absolutely winning every snap inside. Getting penetration, just ruining any run play so far by the Chargers from tackle to tackle. It's pretty hefty guy, right?
I would say so.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I would say that
big man.
You took note of that. You took note of that when we met with him last night. Donald Brown is the running back. 3rd and 3. Can the Chargers pick up a first down? And the pass threaded to Keenan Allen. What a catch with Chris Harris all over him, airtight. Picks up 6 and that first down.
Like I told you, this is one I don't think they expected. They expected Chris Harris to be the extra defensive back, and that would be Bradley Roby. But they'll adjust as the game goes along. But you got to be on target. Excellent coverage.
He moves Gates over to the left side. Gates has had a little more than a month where it's been rather quiet. All awkward tackle as Allen fumbles the football, and they're going to rule him down.
I think he could have been. He got hurt. That's why he let go of the football, but he could have been on top of the defender when that football came out. See if anything hits the ground.
Knee is down.
Yeah, the knee is down. Look at that spot.
This is where you start getting concerned for the player. Right call here, though, Phil.
Yeah, it is the right call. He definitely has possession. Knee is down. Hand hits, and then the pain comes in. He gets rid of that football.
So he tries to shake it off.
Well, they need him to come back in there. They need him to be a factor.
Yes, they do. As Tutu comes in for him, 2nd and 3. Donald Brown keeps his balance and picks up the first at about the 48.
They had it that time. They had some. If Donald Brown gets through there cleanly, it's going to be a big game. Gets around the edge. And he thought about cutting back, so he did it to himself. If he'd have just went full speed, they had it sealed inside and pushed out to the outside.
Keenan Allen has come back into the game. Now he has had tremendous success in his young career against Denver. 5 touchdowns against the Broncos the last 3 matchups. New set of downs as Rivers tries to stay in rhythm and hold in. What a catch by Gates.
Great throw, really tremendous catch, but watch Phillip Rivers. Nobody does it better than him in the NFL. Look at the push. Stevie Johnson just overpowers the back, and Rivers just flicks it out there. You and I, we talked about it coming in the game. Phillip Rivers truly plays in a phone booth. That's about how much room he has every time he throws the football.
Well, he's thrown it 4 times on this series, 4 for 4. As the Chargers are in Denver territory for the first time. Brown backs in for about 3. Donald Brown, you were looking at the film this week, and you saw a lot of things that you liked about the former Colt running back.
Oh, I like him. I think he's one of those guys like that first play or that run we saw to the left. He's got long legs, and he can cover ground. And you get him a screen and get him in the right position, he can outrun just about anybody on the defensive side. I also had a chance to watch him play in high school. Didn't know he was going to be a pro, but I just remember seeing him go, he's really good. And it turned out that way.
Ended up being a first-round draft pick out of UConn for the Colts. 2nd and 7. Here he is again. Trying to shake off Ward, but unable to. Gain of 3. His average per carry, though, this year has been about 2.5 yards per attempt.
Yeah, he's not a great inside runner as I watch him. You know, he's more of an edge player, would be good in screens, and you know, the big thing is this offensive line for the Chargers, it's struggled most of the year.
Ajira Tutu is back on the field with Allen kind of going in and out. Out at the moment for this 3rd and 4 snap from the Denver 31. Here's Rivers in the pocket. Lofts it over the top to Brown. And finally, Aqib Talib is able to catch up with him at about the 15, but a gain of 16, and the Chargers continue to march.
How good is Phillip Rivers in the pocket? And he does this so often. He's the king of moving in the pocket and finding the running back or a tight, whoever it is, right around him where he can dump the football quick. That was excellent job. Keeps both hands on it. Jump pass, throws like little darts. When he throws with guys around him, those short passes, it's truly like he's throwing a dart in a game. So works very well with people around him.
Half dart, half shot put.
Yeah, that's right.
From the gun on 1st down, Rivers with a flag drawn. Trying to connect with John Phillips, and that was Steven Johnson trying to cover him, and maybe it's going to be flagged here.
Pass interference. Offense.
Okay.
Number 85. 10-yard penalty. Replay. 1st down.
Goes against Gates. Yeah, goes against Gates.
I think he said 85. Here's 85 right in front of you, going across. Oh yeah, he's a big play. Reaches, throws that hip,
Big play without a whole lot of contact, though.
Yeah. He missed him, or just hit him. But that is, the Chargers probably run more of those type of routes than anybody in the league. One guy's going from right to left. They'll have another receiver going left to right, and they want the defenders to run into each other. At times, Antonio Gates just got too close.
Backs him up to the 25, 1st and 20. Trying to get a chunk of it back. And that's Oliver fighting for an additional yard or so. Picks up 4. Tomorrow on CBS, a special holiday episode of NCIS Los Angeles. So full of surprises, everyone will be talking about it. A jolly new NCIS Los Angeles tomorrow at 10, 9 Central, only CBS. And another flag came out. In fact, several of them.
After the play, personal foul, blow to the head, offense number 76. That's a 15-yard penalty.
That's a
the
big
down
one.
counts, 2nd down.
DJ Fluker.
Oh, man, it's so big. Of course, the situation. I guess he slapped him there. And they've been very, I'm not going to say, oh, that didn't hit him hard. You can't get into judgment how hard you hit people. It's the action. And the NFL and these officials have been very consistent with that kind of call all year long. So if you're a Charger fan, you can't complain.
Just had 25 yards in penalties in the last 2 plays against the Chargers.
How about that? Now you're just trying to get back into field goal range.
2nd and 31. And here comes the blitz by the Broncos. Picked up very efficiently. And Rivers' pass incomplete. Trying to find Floyd, but Talib helped break it up. And Rivers wanted pass interference.
Yeah, he did, but there's no pass interference. Aqib Talib was in great position to knock it down. Awesome pickup by the Chargers. The blitz, why did the Broncos blitz? Because they're trying to keep them out of field goal range. Oh, man, he had outside technique, made the turn. That's textbook. You put it on a reel and go, hey, guys, this is what we do.
Yep.
When we have outside leverage against an inside receiver.
Nothing early there as Talib able to break that up. 3rd and 31. And that's Ronnie Brown.
Good call.
Yep. Picking up yardage. It'll make that field goal attempt coming up for Novak a whole lot easier.
They were flying up the field to get to Phillip Rivers, and that's the call. I thought maybe a screen, but they run the draw, and it makes it easier.
Yep, was looking at if it was an incomplete pass, would have been like a 54-yard field goal try.
Yeah, and you'd have to punt it. I wouldn't have tried it against this offense of the Denver Broncos. I would always punt them back and make them go the length of the field.
So instead they get off the run, a 46-yard attempt coming from Novak, who's missed only once this year. Now remember, he's got a new holder, McBriar. Mike Wint to snap it back. 46 yards. Novak's kick is short. Might have had a Bronco get a hand on it.
Oh, yeah, it had to be hit to be that short. Like Derek Wolf's the one celebrating the most. Maybe it was him.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Lincoln Wishlist event. Visit your Lincoln showroom today. Pepsi. Hype your hometown with Pepsi at pepsi.com/halftime. And by The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies, in theaters everywhere Wednesday.
Well, the Chargers kept the football for almost what amounts to a half quarter. 7 minutes, 23 seconds. They come away with nothing. Looks like Derek Wolfe did get a hand on that field goal try from 46 yards, and they take over now at the 36. Running it, Anderson, no gain.
Yeah, on the field goal attempt, the block, watch number 95, Derek Wolfe there, gets his hand up and it just hits it. Football still rotates, but lands way short.
Of course, they had those 2 penalties that really killed them, including Fluker.
Wow.
With the what was called blow to the face, blow to the helmet, 15-yard personal foul penalty.
You know, Mike McCoy's right to yell at him. It's a big game. You can't, the Chargers almost have to play perfectly to win this game. And you give up a penalty like that because you let your ego get in the way. and you want to fight back and yell at your opponent sometimes.
Denver going this series again without Clady at left tackle. Manning rolling out and has Emmanuel Sanders for a first down at the 48. Gain of 12.
Such a big key when you look at this Denver offense. Boy, watch Peyton Manning walking back to the huddle. Just head down, taking his time. But to get number 10, Emmanuel Sanders, and Demaryius Thomas involved, because they are the two guys that every time they catch it, you got to hold your breath because they can take it all the way.
Well, he took it all the way again 3 times against San Diego back in October. Had 120 yards on the night.
Look, Jim, you watch him even when you watch him on coach's film, his energy, his passion, it comes out, and he practices the same way.
That pass play put Peyton over 4,000 for the season. Here's Anderson. He's got a lane, and he is walloped by a die.
Wow.
Knocks him sideways and woozy.
That was one big hit. Chris Clark, the reserve tackle, does a good job. That's twice a die has come up and made big hits.
Bronco training staff comes onto the field. We'll step aside. Again, Peyton's last completion put him over 4,000 for the 14th time in his remarkable career. Breeze just needs 19 yards tomorrow against the Bears to have it for the 9th, but he is the runaway leader in that category, is Peyton Manning.
Shoot, to play 14 years is an accomplishment in itself, and there's Anderson. Looks pretty good right now after coming off the field.
Juwan Thompson comes in for him, Phil.
Who last week, when he got his chances, he ran tremendous.
Had 4 rushes for 63 yards in the game against the Bills. The fake to him. Manning's going down the field, and it is caught by Demaryius Thomas.
It was a race the whole way, and Brandon Flowers was behind right at the line of scrimmage. That little move into him, and now it's all about makeup speed for the defensive back. Hard to have makeup speed when you go against Demaryius Thomas, and he is completely healthy. A little beat up last week. The Denver Broncos had a walkthrough on Wednesday because John Fox said my team was tired and beat up. Especially when you talk about guys who make their living with speed like Demaryius Thomas.
Who's got 2 big catches in this game already. That one went for 29. The first catch went for 36. First down and looking toward the end zone, trying to get back to Demaryius. Stops to greet a fan or two. This is some combo when you talk about Demaryius and Emmanuel. Through 14 weeks, most combined receiving yards for a duo in the league. And you were right, Demaryius Thomas 10 days ago in practice bruised an ankle, so he was not anywhere close to 100% last week against Buffalo. Held to just a couple of catches for 11 meager yards.
That first catch today going across the field, he looked exceedingly fast. Is that the best way to explain it?
That's Thompson. Every time we see this undrafted rookie out of Duke, much like C.J. Anderson, undrafted a couple of years ago out of Cal, you wonder, how did people pass on this guy in the draft?
Well, because people have devalued running backs, and these guys are not helping the prospects of the guys in college, because now in the NFL you can get free agents and late round draft picks who are just as good as the first and second rounders. We see it almost every single week. But again, the running game, 3rd and short for the Broncos. Hard to do much on the defensive side.
They've got Anderson back on the field after being shaken up earlier in this drive.
A lot of one-on-ones.
3rd and 2, first down, and down to the 1 is Sanders.
See, they had to play the run, Jim. So when you play the run on 3rd and short, you get easy passes like this. Sanders against Flowers. Hard to follow them down inside. You're worried about other defenders running in your own guys. So, boy, when they throw it today, the Broncos, 3 big pass plays and some really valuable 3rd down pickups.
Well, they have both Anderson and Thompson in the game, and now Anderson goes to the slot left. Thompson, hand up the middle. And he is stopped short. He had 2 touchdowns on similar type plunges against San Diego in October. They went back to that, what had worked for them the last time. It was stopped short.
Yeah, I got a feeling they're going to run this one in. If it takes 4 tries, they're going to stay with it. But they've switched this line around with Clady out, Clark at left tackle, Ben Garland came in as the 3rd tight end.
Whole lot of shifting. And now in tight.
Watch the fullback.
It's Anderson. And again, they're out of the end zone. Stopped short. At the 2-minute warning. Back-to-back impressive stops by the Chargers. And Connor's been on the last 2 tackles. 3rd and goal coming up out of the 2-minute warning. Verizon halftime report is coming up. Scores and highlights. This is going to be the 13th play run today in the red zone by the Broncos. They go with Anderson. Reverses field. Manning tries to throw a block. And Anderson's in for the touchdown. Manning was one of those who helped on the change of fortune, helped Anderson find the end zone from a yard away.
That is some play by Peyton Manning and Anderson. It changes his game completely around because he's going to lose 4 yards. Penetration is great. Melvin Ingram comes so flat down the line of scrimmage that Anderson's allowed to reverse and go back and score.
It's like Donald Butler was looking at him and saying, what are you doing here? Not that anybody on that Denver sideline wants to see Manning taking hits like that, but it cleared the way, helped clear the way.
Well, look, I think he's actually smiling there, Peyton Manning. He liked that, the fact that he made that block.
And it was Donald Butler who he made contact with, who's shaken up on the field.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by TD Ameritrade. And by Cialis.
Very interesting situation here. The touchdown called on the field may be overturned. You saw Peyton Manning run to the locker room, we presume, to go get an IV here.
Absolutely,
he's under the weather. But if they rule that he's out of the end zone,
After
Peyton's still in the
review,
locker room.
The runner's knee was down while the ball was short of the goal line. It will be 4th down and goal from the 1-foot line.
So Anderson, you see his right knee, he's down.
Down. It's almost the exact spot they were in to begin with.
And then again, Peyton right after the play thinking, okay, touchdown, I'm going to have time. Heads to the locker room.
Well, and I don't know if that has anything to do with the decision, but the Broncos have kept their extra point squad on the field. Well, they tried 2 passes the first time when they were down on the other end, didn't score, and 3 straight run plays. What a job by this Chargers defense in the red zone today.
Now, would you think about taking a timeout here and having Peyton come back out from the locker room? You're a foot away.
Yes, I would think about taking a timeout for sure here, Jim.
San Diego, though, calls the timeout.
If I was Denver, if I was thinking about it, maybe get a chance to get Peyton Manning back on the field. But I think John Fox, he's looking at the scores, seeing the tempo of this game. He's going to stay with this field goal attempt.
Brock Osweiler is Peyton's backup. But don't you just know that Peyton headed to that locker room thinking the touchdown was a certainty?
Absolutely. And why Mike McCoy took the timeout, remember, the 2-minute warning, so he wanted to save time for his football team. He wants to give Phillip Rivers as much time to have one little drive before the half ends.
19-yard straightaway try. Just amazing. Would be a second 19-yarder of this half, plus a 26-yarder as he slips on the follow-through. But it's 9-0 as McCoy's defense keeps him out of the end zone. Just a reminder, Thursday night from Jacksonville, Tennessee will take on the Jaguars. We'll be there on NFL Network. And then next Saturday, the Eagles and the Redskins on NFL Network, followed by the Chargers up at San Francisco to take on the 49ers. That'll be broadcast on both CBS and NFL Network. Football starts here So you got 2 field goals from the shortest possible distance by Barth, 2 from 19, 1 from 26.
That's
and
amazing.
Broncos just now 3 of their last 15 red zone trips on the road have not produced touchdowns. Only 3 have. 3 out of 15. That's it. Donald Brown takes a knee. They're getting ready on the other coast for the halftime highlights.
A lot of money tying up in those wardrobes. Auburn's got new suits on, but hey, you talk about this first half. I thought the Broncos in times past, how about that last time they'd been a long time, 20-some years. But the Broncos inside the 20 were almost unstoppable with their run and pass. They could do both. You play pass, they would run it.
Keenan Allen's in the game. That wobbler was headed his way. Incomplete. Harris again with that suffocating defense. And you know, speaking of Thursday night football, we were in St. Louis a couple of days ago for Arizona and the Rams, and we're approaching now 6 full quarters without a touchdown call.
Are you seeing it?
It might be you.
It might be.
It might be you.
You've always said I can bring the dark cloud over anything. So, but you know, this offense, they're going against the defense. It's just gotten better all year long, and now, no question, Denver, one of the best in the league.
2nd and 10, and Rivers' pass was going in the direction of Floyd.
But there's no rhythm. How can Phillip Rivers have rhythm? He's worried about the pass rush, and rightly so. It almost looked like his arm was hit on both of those throws.
Remember, they were shut out in the second half last week against New England, as they produced only 216 yards for the game overall against the Patriots. But the second half, there was just nothing there. No production. Denver has 3 timeouts. If they can make the stop here, plenty of time. Rivers incomplete. And Keenan Allen's looking around, not going to find the flag. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. Peyton Manning still in the locker room. We can only assume it's to get IV as he is dealing with flu-like symptoms. Also in the locker room is Chargers right guard Johnny Troutman. He has a head injury. And Denver linebacker Brandon Marshall has a right foot injury. He, too, is in the locker room.
All right, thank you, Tracy. A lot of issues, but the most notable one is what will happen here with, looks like Osweiler coming out. Emmanuel Sanders is stepping back to the 25 and has the fair catch.
Well, you know, one thing, the Chargers just, I don't think they were worried about the clock. I thought they might run the football on that last one. Maybe they make Denver use a timeout, but you look at this, Brock Osweiler coming in. The good thing about this Denver offense, they have so many ways to try to move the ball. So in other words, Jim, they're not going to ask him to drop back and read the defense and throw it down the field. It could be a screen, something very safe to kind of get this moving.
It was a 54-yard punt by McBriar, his best here in his debut as a Charger. So Osweiler will direct the offense here with the final minute and 27 seconds in the first half. Third-year man out of Arizona State.
You've dominated, so you would not want to take a chance and give any momentum back to the San Diego Chargers.
Osweiler's pass tipped up into the air and incomplete.
Wow. I'll tell you what, that'll change everything. Adam Gase is going to sit over there and say he's going to change his play calls.
Again, we have no word on Peyton Manning. Just want to make sure as you go back on that play that led him running into the locker room. Was there any issues here off that contact that would have sent him to the locker room? He didn't appear to be.
No, I don't
hurt
think
at
so.
all.
It seemed, boy, he takes a good lick into the jaw and everything, but he looked in good spirits as he walked through the tunnel.
2nd and 10. Again from the gun, Osweiler. Got pressure by his feet, and that's going to be a grounding call against him as Dwight Freeney was in on him.
Well, this changes everything again. Clock is stopped. It's going to be 3rd down, 1:15.
And it's going to be the first penalty of the game against Denver.
And San Diego has a timeout.
He is surprised that they come out and start throwing the football with Osweiler. And
intentional grounding. Offense number 17.
No, in San Diego only had one timeout to stop the clock.
Just out of intentional grounding. Lost it down. Third down.
Am I surprised? They called one of the safest plays they could call, a little out route there from the inside. It's called a stick route. Everybody in the NFL, it's probably the first pass play they put in. Adam Gase now. John Fox is sitting there saying, run the ball, make them use the timeout. If you throw it and it's incomplete, that would be really bad clock management. Really bad.
I would
by the
be
Denver Broncos.
surprised if anybody other than C.J. Anderson was called on here. Here's the handoff to him.
And he went out of bounds.
Goes out of bounds to stop the clock and save San Diego a timeout.
Tell you what, neither one of these teams, what they did here at the end of the first half is going to go into any reel to how to do it. So another good job by San Diego's defense, and not a very good job managing the clock by the Broncos.
You just wonder, was Anderson reminded, and just in all this confusion, and now with Manning in the locker room, Anderson's got to know you've got to stay in bounds. That's the why they're giving you the football. Here's Eddie Royal waiting for Colquitt's punt. He's got it at the 25. Sidesteps the first hit. Cuts back to the other side, and he's got a lane. Eddie Royal will take it off inside the 40. Colquitt can't stop him, and he's brought down at the 16. Actually, Colquitt got just enough of an ankle to slow him down. Give Colquitt credit, but it was a 51-yard boot with a 58-yard run back.
There's the key. They put two returners, and Jaleel Adai gets the block that gives Eddie Royal a chance to make this return. Really well done by the Chargers. Kevin Spencer, special teams coach, and Colquitt did exactly what they wanted. The Chargers, he kicked it so far, it gave him a chance for the return.
Colquitt slowed him down, and then Virgil Green was able to jump on his back, but the Chargers have life here in the red zone with 50 seconds to go. Troutman is back in the lineup on that offensive line at right guard after getting nicked. Here's Rivers over to Donald. He's out of bounds. Chased out by Marshall. No gain. Tonight, our dangerous mentally ill patients denied care. A 60 minutes investigation tonight. Only CBS.
Nobody open down the field. Phillip Rivers, when he does get time to throw him with extreme caution, because and it's a good thing, the defender's winning almost every battle.
2nd and 10. Slant to Allen. And a gain of 5.
Yeah, you don't have to rush. You still have a timeout. It's 3rd down.
Got to think Mike McCoy never thought his team would see the football again in this half after they punted away with 1 minute and 27 seconds to go. Now at the big punt return, 3rd and 5, going to the end zone, and Harris on the coverage. Keenan Allen was the target, and Rivers comes all the way to the end zone to make an appeal.
Oh my gosh, they grabbed the flag to throw it and hesitated and did not throw it. Over the middle, Keenan Allen and Chris Harris, a lot of contact.
Past 5 yards too.
Yes. Boy, Rivers once again, he goes outside and yells here he goes. He saw that he thought the flag was going to be thrown.
Again, they're not supposed to have any kind of hand checks or illegal contact more than 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. He brings out Novak now from 30 yards. And the kick is good. 10 seconds to go in the half, and the Chargers finally put points on the board.
Yeah, they're not going to be happy with that, because that was tough. There was a lot of contact, and so far in this game, let's just go by how they've called it. They have called that so far. They let that one get away.
So the line of scrimmage is at the 12, and where's their contact?
He's on him. He's grabbed him. That's all good, but it's the contact before that. You know, just think about it. I always say this. When you see it live and you're down the field, That's where you get the best view. And Jim, you know, if you were running down a field and I reached out and grabbed you, think what it would do to you running.
Again, if the ball is snapped at about the 12, you're not allowed.
Oh, yep, he was going to throw it and decided not to.
But there should not have been any kind of contact after the 7-yard line.
That's right.
And it appeared to be from the 5 on in. But still, it's
still a little lift, no question.
It is for the Chargers.
For the San Diego Chargers. And I know, too, the Denver Broncos are going to be upset the way they managed the end of that first half.
And Rivers is going in early. It's picked up by Austin.
Looked pretty good running it there.
Marvin Austin Jr.
Back in the lineup today, really picking his play up, so he's up. Seen him quite a few snaps and right in the middle of the action.
How about this? We're just getting word from the Broncos sideline. They passed along word that Manning has a thigh injury and is probable to return. So has to come on the contact with Butler when he was trying to block and help Anderson find the end zone.
Yeah,
Osweiler takes a knee to close out the first half. We don't know if this is where it happened, but we can only assume that. Hops around a little bit after the contact.
Didn't see any contact with his legs, but sounds like he might come back and play in the second half.
9-3 Denver at halftime. Back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. We're back in San Diego. A 9-3 lead for the Broncos. A Denver win today would give them the AFC West. A San Diego win would put them in the 6th spot at the time being. And let's take a look at the Bows game changer. As played from the first half, an Eddie Royal punt return of 58 yards before he was tripped up by Colquitt. Set up the Chargers' first points in 4 quarters of action at home, going back to last Sunday night when they were blanked in the 3rd and 4th quarters in a loss to New England. But let's get the update on Peyton Manning. That's the most urgent thing at the moment. Tracy, all yours.
Well, thanks, Jim. I had a chance to speak with John Fox coming out of the locker room. You saw Peyton Manning. He ran out onto the field from the tunnel, but I was told by Fox that Brock Osweiler will start this half, and they will keep an eye on Peyton Manning. It is a combination of that thigh and the fact that he is under the weather. And I also asked him about the play in the goal line, and I said, why didn't you just go for it? Was it because Peyton Manning's not out there? And he said, you just can't speculate. We took the field goal. Jim?
Well, the last time Peyton missed a snap in the first half of a game was the 2009 season finale, first half action. It's interesting seeing Osweiler just burst out of the locker room first on the field for Denver, but then Peyton in a full sprint came out a short while later and warmed up. So a touchback earned by McManus. And what do you make out of this?
Well, I don't know what to make out of it because Peyton Manning came out and warmed up. It was interesting what Tracy said. John Fox inside the 1. Peyton Manning's in the locker room, and he says, well, we can't speculate. So it kind of tells me maybe they would have gone for it if Peyton Manning could have still been on the field. That's just a guess on my part.
So, again, he passes along word they're going to go with Osweiler. But Peyton sure came out and warmed up like he expects to be playing, didn't he?
And he's talking to Adam Gase and Peyton Manning all the years, never comes out of games. I'd be surprised if he doesn't start.
Here's the give to Oliver. And he picks up 3. In that first half, the Chargers managed only 92 yards. The longest play was a 16-yard pass play to Brown.
Well, nothing's working. I didn't think they'd have a chance to run the ball well against this defense, especially without Ryan Matthews. We talked about that. But the biggest story is the wide receivers not getting away and getting open.
2nd and 7. And plenty of time with a sidearm flick. to Oliver, and he's 3 yards short of a first. Miller and Johnson combine on the hit. Brandon Marshall's not out there at the start of this quarter for the Bronco defense.
That's a big miss always, too. I think Brandon Marshall, their linebacker, Jim, I think he's playing as well as about any linebacker in the NFL. I tried to get John Fox last night to comment on it. I said, heck, he could go to the Pro Bowl. But, of course, his name's not big enough to get the votes to go to the Pro Bowl, but he has been outstanding, and he'll be missed.
Well, Trevathan's out there at the moment. You see him, middle linebacker, who's missed most of the season. First down picked up by Gates. And again, just the 5th first down of the game for San Diego. This is what we were talking about. Here comes Osweiler. I guess technically the 3rd guy to come out, and he started loosening up. And then Peyton, we weren't sure for a while, was he coming out or what? And then he ran about as fast as I've ever seen him take the field.
Yeah, that's right.
And started warming up right alongside Osweiler.
Good 3rd down pickup by the Chargers. They did. Gates fake going across the field, stopped, kind of pushed off against T.J. Ward and got open.
From the 36. Good little move there to avoid the loss, and Oliver picks up 1. Knighton really broke up that play. Here comes.
Yeah, it doesn't look like his thigh is bothering him, and I think John Fox said it right, between maybe his thigh is bothering him, the fact that he, had the flu or wasn't feeling well. That's a lot to deal with.
2nd and 9 as they bring Phillips over to the left side, and they toss it to Oliver. And the Denver defense, wow, what a all over that one, including Ward and Todd Davis. And look at DeMarcus Ware mixing it up for a moment there with Phillips.
Well, they can't afford ever to get penalties and set back when you talk about the Chargers offense. San Diego trying different things, Jim. Here a little bit of a hurry up, just trying to change the rhythm to give them maybe a little bit of an edge to have an opportunity to get somebody free down the field.
3rd and 10. Rivers pass, middle of the field. Harris says it hit the ground first. And they call it a catch. That's Ajira Tutu. I'll tell you, the Broncos upstairs.
I would challenge it if I was John Fox.
And the challenge flag is out. It was a 13-yard pass play, but more importantly, it picked up a first down on 3rd and 10.
Kept a lot of people in to make sure Phillip Rivers had time to throw the football.
Looks like it bounced off the ground, Phil.
It does to me. Arms were not under that football as he came in there.
Denver is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
If it's overturned, San Diego will be punting the football. Denver challenging the Ajira Tutu catch, ruled a catch by the officials.
After review, the ball hit the ground before the receiver secured possession. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down and 10 at the 36-yard line.
That'll bring out McBriar to punt. We've got an update on Manning. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. John Fox did tell me coming out of the locker room that Brock Osweiler would start the half, but we know Peyton Manning, it takes a lot for him to sit, and I watched him talking with offensive coordinator Adam Gase, pleading his case, and by the looks of it, Manning will go in. He is out here with his helmet on, walking the sidelines. Brock Osweiler sitting on the bench. Jim?
Okay, it's been real time. A little more than 40 minutes since Peyton was last on the field in action. His last punt was his best one, 54 yards. This is Sanders, 16 to the 27. 48-yard boot, 11-yard run back, and Peyton Manning is coming back onto the field after this break. We'll see him.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. The all-new Volkswagen Golf family, 2015 Motor Trend Car of the Year. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
We're back, and Peyton Manning about to take the snap under center after going 8 of 12 in the first half for 137 yards. Hands it off to Anderson. Waited for something to unfold and dives ahead for 2. So Peyton comes into the game. We find out just shortly before kickoff that it has been a restless 24 hours basically since we saw them when they arrived in the city yesterday. He's been under the weather, flu-like symptoms, then suffers a thigh injury late in the first half. Took him out for a series.
Well, he said last night when he left the room with us, he said, man, he looks great. Looks healthy, rested, and ready to go.
2nd and 8, and that's over to Demaryius Thomas, who slices around some defenders and is stopped about a yard short. Yeah, we had no hint of it last night when we met with him. There was anything wrong. Of course, this has been the week. You addressed it early on. You did it so well about how people have been trying to interpret what's going on with the Broncos and Peyton's passing numbers being down. Because Thomas now is the latest Bronco to be shaken up.
Wow, that's the one negative for sometimes to the screens outside. You get so many people running at you with such speed, they catch you the wrong way, which apparently happened to Demaryius Thomas.
Who's already playing on that tender ankle that was injured in practice about 10 days ago. Caldwell in for him on 3rd and 1, and all over Anderson, but a flag is thrown into the pile. Gatchkar comes up to make the stop for a loss. Chris Clark got pushed back at left tackle. Remember, he's in for Clady, who got injured in the first half with a thigh.
Holding. Offense, number 75.
And that's
that penalty is declined. The result of the play.
Well, you got to give a lot of credit to John Pagano, the defensive coordinator. Clark is number 75 on the outside, but that's a hold. That's going to be a tackle, but it's the extra guy, Gatchkar, who they can't block. And when you play the San Diego defense, it doesn't even help to study them, because every game it's just an array of new defensive thoughts that go against you.
Colquitt, whose last punt traveled 51 yards but saw it come back 58 before he helped tangle up and slow down Eddie Royal. Royal this time has the arm in the air. He makes the catch on one knee at the 28. 39-yard punt. 9-3. No touchdowns today here in San Diego to this point. Aerial coverage of this game is provided by DirecTV. San Diego has the football for the 2nd time in this half. Starting at the 28 with a tight end screen with Gates lumbering ahead for the 1st down, running behind the likes of Chris Watt, the center, for 11.
Yeah, really well designed. A couple good design plays here in the 2nd half by the San Diego Chargers. Misdirection. You got to do something. You're getting overpowered. The defense is fast on Denver's side, so misdirection's one way to go. Offense having trouble putting it in the end zone. 2nd half against New England here today. 2 good defenses. And what really hurts this Chargers offense, they have to keep guys in to help block too.
On 1st down, that's Floyd with a catch for 7.
Well, Jim, I've talked about it a few times. Just look down the field. Look how close the coverage is when you try to throw it. Phillip Rivers, smart, being very careful with the football.
It's Oliver. And a flag is thrown into the pile as Knighton had hold of Oliver, was able to fall near the 1st down marker, but checked the flag.
Holding. Offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty. Replay. second down.
Well, we've talked a number of times about how little the San Diego offense produced in the second half last week against the Patriots, but don't forget they only scored one offensive touchdown in that game. Their other touchdown was on a fumble return.
That's right. That's right. And this is a very good defensive front they're going against here today. And you know, Phillip Rivers said between formations, keeping the tight end to help block. You got to worry about Von Miller. You know, this offensive line of San Diego, it's big, not necessarily quick. You would hope and think they could overpower teams in the run game, but not the case here today.
Second big penalty against Fluker, 2nd and 13. And open in the middle of the field is Oliver running low to the Denver side of the field for a first down.
Well, that's the number one play they got rolling here today is the running back out of the backfield. Watch Oliver. Helps on the blocking, then releases. I think Von Miller might have had him in coverage because he tried to run with him.
17 yards, the longest play from scrimmage for the Chargers in this game.
That's just not today. They're good at that every week, that kind of play.
They go back to Oliver, and he's met right away by Malik Jackson.
Well, Terrence Knighton talked about Malik Jackson last night, just how much better he's improved, and probably up around 290 pounds and a force in the run game. Great hustle. Every week he stands out. They have the one thing about Denver's defense. They can overplay you sometimes. That's a mistake. But they hustle at every position as well as anybody in the league.
That was a loss of 5. Second and 15 for Rivers. Pass deflected at the line. Again, it was Jackson. He just made the tackle for a loss. Then he bats this one, but there is a flag.
Ball was tipped.
Before the pass was thrown, holding, defense, number 25. The 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
I talked to Mike Carey about this. I said, can you really see when the football is thrown when you have these calls? And he says, absolutely. They're trained to do it. There's the hold. That's a good call. 2 arms around, a 0-2-2.
It's the first defensive penalty on the Broncos. Donald Brown comes in as Peyton tries to stay loose.
Yep, that's it. Keep moving, because you sit down just makes you feel worse, I guess.
Fake the draw. With the middle. Open is Royal at the 27.
That time they got free across the field. That's why he got open. Chris Harris got picked by his own man. And I started the game. The number one key, I think, when you want to beat this Chargers offense is you got to stop the crossers and the back releasing out of the backfield. That's the 2 things that have worked fairly well for this passing offense here today.
Royals first catch. Chargers first play that goes for 20 in the entire game. Inside of 6 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. From the 27, it's Donald Brown. And Ware was the first to make contact, picks up 4.
Or DeMarcus Ware. Well, they tell us every day in practice he competes. Him and Von Miller see who can be the best pass rusher out there in practice. So competition is great. A lot of good defensive linemen here for the Broncos. So you go out and practice and earn reps in the games about how hard you and how productive you are in that practice session.
Keenan Allen's missing a lot of time here. Is you're a 2-2 in for him. As the Chargers have the completion to the 19 with Royal. 3rd down coming up.
Well, 3rd down situations like it, you think, well, the run could be a possibility, but I don't like your chances. They got Terrence Knighton still in there along with Derek Wolfe. Running back's pretty close.
Rivers has thrown for more yardage on this drive than he did in the entire first half. 3rd and 2. Lofts it, incomplete, and no flag. Roby was defending on Royal.
Man, he was covered. Phillip Rivers, you just throw it, maybe you get lucky. But that time they were going to make sure the running back did nothing. Terrence Knighton dropped off at defensive tackle to take care of the running back that time, and Ronald Brown had nowhere to run.
So we have another drive in this game that enters the red zone and will result in a field goal try. This was 37 yards coming up for Novak, who had his first kick today blocked. It's good on the second one from 30. This one hits the upright and is no good from 37. Had missed only one kick the entire season coming in. He's missed twice today.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. The world needs more Straight Talk. And by McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it.
Coming off the missed field goal, the Broncos take over at the 27 with Anderson. Wiggling outside, stiff arming, Flowers. He's got 7. Novak, so reliable, but not this time from 37 yards out.
Well, he knows the technique. You know, I never kicked, of course, but he just got so over the top of the football. When you watch the replay, you think, well, it had to go left. Has to affect his confidence, too, when the mechanics, the snapper and hold and all that is a little different.
Marius Thomas is back in, lined up at the near side, 2nd and 3. Slicing through, picking up the first down is Anderson, who now's up to 21 carries for 67 yards on the game.
I like this little change by the Broncos. I think they should spread it out and make the defense cover more of the field. I think it makes it easier for Peyton Manning to see the defense when he wants to throw, and it can open up some running lanes for the running back and take some of the pressure off this offensive line.
Welker, Sanders, and Thomas flood the right side. And Peyton drops back into the gun on first down. And he tosses that one into the arms of Welker underneath for 6. Again, Peyton Manning, he's under the weather. He's ill, as we reported before the game, and then got shaken up, we assume, on this very play right here where he tried to help spring Anderson into the end zone. It was ruled at first a touchdown, and later overturned. He ran from that point right into the locker room.
It's interesting, as I watched that replay, just watch him, I almost thought I saw a little limp that first couple steps.
Yeah,
I know it was high, but
yep. 2nd and 4 from the 43. Look at that footwork. Look at that footwork by Anderson to sidestep Freeney and pick up 8 and another new set of downs.
Man, that was special. It really was. Just to do that, you know, you ask running backs, can you pick the right hole? Oh my! But make people inside the tackle box, make them miss like that. Don't see that run often.
That was Freeney. He juked and made the move to take it to the San Diego side of the field. Jeremy Stewart is in at running back for the first time in this game. And they're going to give it to him. Stewart, fresh legs for 15.
They're not coming across the formation. Watch that run. You think, okay, he's on the right side. He's going to go all the way across. It's the cutback. That's what they're doing. And Virgil Green, he is the one that's sealed. Watch 85 to the right. Keeps his block. That allows Stewart to cut back and pick up those yards.
He's a Stanford product, is Stewart. Formerly a Raider, signed as a free agent.
Ramirez, the right guard, has been absolutely outstanding in the run game.
Now at the Chargers 33, they go up the middle with it. Stewart And a flag is in the pile. Payton is showing his bench that he believes this call is going against San Diego.
Hands to the face. Defense, number 97. That 5-yard penalty will be added at the end of the run. Still
The rookie Jerry Atauchu was called for that.
Oh, that's easy to see. Boy, did he hit him there? He kept him up there.
Right in the face of Vasquez, the former Charger.
That's right. I haven't talked about it much today, but this reshuffling of the offensive line of the Denver Broncos has made this team more physical, tougher, and it's really toughened up their whole football team. When you have a line that plays like this with an attitude, it helps your defense also.
Late third quarter, first down, and Manning down the field. Has Thomas. Demarius takes it to the house for the touchdown. Broncos.
Well, Peyton Manning might not be 100%, but that was well done by him. Top of the screen, he immediately throws it to the back shoulder. What a stop. So easy for Demarius Thomas and impossible to bring down in the open field. Brandon Flowers, that time he was on top. In other words, he was going to outrun him down the field, but you see that so often, the back shoulder throws. A lot of big pass plays today for this Denver offense.
Demarius Thomas, boy, he had some good cuts as he's running and cutting on a tender ankle. He also, does Thomas have a 100-yard game now? 4 catches, 100 on the nose, and a touchdown. His 4th in this stadium now over the last 2 seasons. NFL fans, order your holiday gifts from NFLshop.com today and save 20% and get free shipping over $50 at the official store of the NFL. McManus going to get another touchback. No chance for Davis. College basketball next Saturday. The unveiling of the CBS Sports Classic. The debut featuring 4 of the biggest names in college hoops. Ohio State and North Carolina, followed by UCLA and Kentucky next Saturday on CBS. Thomas has his 8th 100-yard game of the season. That ties Rod Smith's Bronco franchise single-season record.
You know, it's Julius Thomas at tight end, Emmanuel Sanders, Demarius Thomas. You can only double team 2 of them. Somebody's going to be one-on-one in man coverage, and it was Demarius that time.
Oliver hit right away. Loss of 1. Todd Davis has been in on a couple of plays. They recently picked him up off of waivers from New Orleans. And the Chargers are going to run out of the play here before the end of the 3rd. 2nd and 10. No, they're not.
Yeah, I like it. Get a chance to rethink it. It's a big down, big series for the San Diego Chargers.
Well, Payton was 3 for 3 on that last drive for 40 yards, including the touchdown to Thomas. We're back here in San Diego, starting the 4th. Jim Nance, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson, and the Chargers down 16-3. Faces 2nd and 10 at their own 20. Gates with Trevathan right around him. It's the final home game of the year for the Chargers. As you see, President and CEO Dean Spanos. They'll head out to the road now, close out the season at San Francisco and at Kansas City. Third and 3. Pass incomplete. Trying to go back to Gates, and Bruton on the coverage, and now there's a flag.
Yeah, contact came too early. almost timed it perfectly. Bruton was in perfect position, and
Holding. Defense. That's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Well, they never identified the culprit, but you thought that the contact came before the pass arrived. That probably was it. That bump. Yeah, but it's thrown in that area with your 35-yard line. So that's a much needed first down for the Chargers.
Pass protection has been more consistent by the San Diego offensive line here in the second half.
Again, the Chargers really missing Ryan Matthews, who was inactive for the game after suffering an ankle injury last week against the Patriots. Here's Oliver. His best run of the game, picks up 11.
Really good job that time by Johnny Troutman. The right guard comes all the way around and gets a block. There it is, seals it inside, gets Danny Trevathan to allow Oliver to pick up those yards.
That gives him now 49 on the game. The Chargers rushing wise. First down, 43. Rivers was looking at loading it up, and now he'll slide underneath Bruton and pick up about 3, maybe 4. Another flag is down, and that's deep in the secondary.
Illegal contact. Defense number 29. 5-yard penalty added to end the run. Automatic first down.
Bradley Roby in the slot. Had his hands on him. Then what really happened, incidental tripping, but the hands on the receiver is what made it a penalty.
You saw Royal hit the ground, and he's been shaken up, and he exits the field. The Subway post-game show, time permitting, will be coming up with JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cower. The Subway post-game show. So they're already thin with Keenan Allen questionable to return with an ankle. And now Royal goes out. So Ajira Tutu seeing some action here. Malcolm Floyd on the near side, 1st and 10, setting up screen. Donald Brown, flag is down back at midfield. It might be on Floyd.
Talked about it, Donald Brown on screens outside, very dynamic with the football.
The play went for 17. This is going to be, I believe, a spot foul.
There's no foul on the play, as the blocker never lost contact with the man he was blocking.
So they pick up the flag. And the Chargers keep on moving down the field, now at the Denver 32. And Eddie Royal has run back onto the field. Donald Brown as Talib along with Knighton in there to hold him back, hold him to 1.
Yeah, he was on the blitz from the outside. He switched position into the last second and became the blitzer and got in the backfield and helped stop the run. I thought they might throw more passes towards Aqib Talib today than they have. He will play it smart, knows situations, will give up some throws every now and then short, but you got to be careful. If you keep challenging him, he'll read the quarterback and go after an interception.
2nd and 9, and Rivers takes the safety valve, and Oliver, and there's Talib to meet him on the collision at about the 15, a 16-yard pickup.
What did it that time was the pump fake by Phillip Rivers. When he pump fakes down the field, everybody turned and ran. And as we started, I've said a couple times, he's the best at getting rid of the football to running backs quickly and short.
Here's the handoff to Oliver, and he's going to have two. Talib, kind of an awkward hit as he was up in the air, and he went to the sideline after being in on that tackle and was replaced for that last snap by Tony Carter. Just a reminder, Week 15 continues tonight. Sunday Night Football on NBC. The Cowboys and the Eagles, such a crucial game. And then ESPN on Monday Night Football. The Saints and the Bears. Second and 8. So again, Talib's out. Carter is in. Carter down here at the bottom of the screen on Floyd. Let's see if Rivers goes after him. There's the pass. Ward was defending, and Gates has the catch at about the 6.
It's almost the same type of play they ran last. Here comes Gates against T.J. Ward, and all it is Gates is going to use his size and go up and catch it. If you remember, Jim, almost the exact same spot in Denver, but it was right on the goal line for a touchdown. So that's what you do. The ex-basketball player, let him get good position and give him a chance to go up and make the catch.
And Talib was ready to return, but has to step back off the field. 3rd and 1. It's Ronnie Brown.
Boy, he stayed with it because initially it didn't look like he was going to make it.
This will depend on the spot.
Boy, Trevathan now is down on the ground.
Boy, Trevathan, it has been just such a tough year for him, and he's hobbling off, and it doesn't look good. He's the guy, if healthy, would be calling all the defensive signals. He'd be wearing the green dot.
Yes, and it's a big deal for this defense. You need a great communicator against so many of these offenses nowadays, especially, you know, it came into focus because of what New England did to this defense with a young linebacker, Brandon Marshall, trying to make adjustments against their hurry-up offense.
And he is very disappointed and frustrated. It's his first game back after coming off the injured reserve list, designated to return. They've been waiting for him to get back out there and get some reps today and get stronger and stronger leading to the postseason.
Yeah, I think they were only expecting maybe to give him a certain amount of reps.
It's right in the middle here.
There he is. Well, he just gets kind of pushed back. Hard to tell, but
it was a first down, by the way, picked up by Brown on that second effort. So 1st and goal to go. Chargers trying to get back into this game.
Gates against T.J. Ward, one-on-one.
Play action, pass to the end zone. Touchdown, San Diego. Antonio Gates.
They've been going outside all the time with that matchup. So they changed it up that time, going on the slant, and that has to catch you off guard. He's expecting a fade. See, he opens up, lets him get inside. Nothing, really a tough spot to put T.J. Ward in.
No question. Tremendous size advantage. And basically Gates just shields him, boxes him out, and has the touchdown, his first in a 6-game stretch.
Well, you just expect him to go outside, don't you, to throw the big jump ball once again. So
that's the 70th time Rivers and Gates have connected for a touchdown. Extra point is good. And we have a one-possession game. Finally in the end zone. The Chargers score here in the 4th quarter. Put up 7 more. Again, time permitting, the Subway post-game show will be coming up immediately after this game that now has tightened up at 16-10 Denver. Phillip Rivers with the touchdown pass to Antonio Gates. As Bolden waits for the kick from Novak. And this is returnable all the way out at the 2. Phillips with a good piece of tackling. But another penalty marker is down. Peyton.
During the return, holding, offense number 52.
You saw him give you the look, knowing it was going to be against his side. They're going to be starting back around the 10-yard line when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart, where you'll find unbeatable prices on this year's top gifts. Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
We have very little appetizing ball game here with the fourth quarter. Suddenly a one-score game. Denver leads at 16-10 as the Chargers scored a touchdown just moments ago. Gates finding the end zone for the third time in the 2 games this year against Denver. Penalty on the kickoff brings the football back to the 12. And it's Anderson. Tries that left side for 1.
Let's go back. A couple throws by Peyton Manning. Anytime he has man coverage, which he does up top, safety in the middle, throw it over the top. Beautiful high arcing throw. Now you got almost the same situation. You play up the field, a back shoulder throw gets him a touchdown. But the crowd, just think if this was all San Diego Charger fans and not about 25,000 Bronco fans who are here today in attendance.
Quick pass on the run. First down picked up by Demaryius Thomas. And a gain of 10.
So easy. You know, you got so many things to think about. Sharice Wright opens up, protects the sideline. Big throwing lane for Peyton Manning to get it in there before the linebacker's going to get underneath. There's not many answers for Demaryius Thomas. The only answer is to get close, try to beat him up at the line of scrimmage, and have a second guy help you from behind.
5 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Peyton 4 for 4 in this half. Fakes into the line with Anderson going down the sideline, and Thomas is looking around and saying, wait a minute, but no flag. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. We saw Broncos linebacker Danny Trevathan come off the field hobbling. At first, it was fear that he was having trouble with that left knee. Good news is that he will return.
Oh, wow. Wouldn't have guessed that, the way he was walking off the field in anguish. 2nd and 10, clock at 8:37 to go. Crucial game here for the Chargers' playoff chances. A win would keep them in the 6th position. A Denver win gives them the division. And Anderson has dropped back for a loss of a couple. Gatchkar has made a few tackles behind the line. We've already had 2 divisions clinched today. New England and Indianapolis with victories.
Well, that last play, Ricardo Matthews, number 90, he just jumps out every game, especially against the Broncos. Made a lot of good plays against the run up in Denver and has had a few here today.
3rd and 12. And Julius Thomas, who has seen only spot duty, caught 1 ball for 30 yards. He's at the top of the screen in his return game after a month. Pressure on Manning, somehow ducks under, and on the run, flag is thrown as Sharice Wright was standing over Wes Welker. There had been contact. And instead of a 3rd down stop.
Pass interference. Defense, number 29. The ball in place of the spot of the foul, automatic.
It's going to be a new set of downs for Denver.
Good job by Peyton Manning getting extra time. Coming across the field, number 29.
Well, he grabbed the uniform, grabbed the jersey.
Yep, hard to tell. You know, the fact that the throw was behind makes Wes Welker probably one of the biggest reasons why he slipped. But you can't put your hands on the receivers after 5 yards.
John Pagano.
Nothing there. Manning moved. That created that penalty.
It's Anderson. Again, up ahead with very little room there. 2 more. Next Sunday, a doubleheader day on CBS early. Kansas City and Pittsburgh. That'll be a big one. But then, late in the afternoon, we'll be down in Dallas. Andrew Luck and Tony Romo will square off the doubleheader national game. 4:25 next Sunday down in Big D. All beginning that doubleheader action day with the NFL today at noon Eastern time. JB and the crew.
Time, field position, you got to start thinking about those as we get to the halfway mark, past the halfway mark of the fourth quarter. Little different look this time. Melvin Ingram, number 54, inside.
2nd and 8, and down to Sanders, who is slammed down at the 34.
Well, it was a blitz. And when you got two outstanding guys outside, boy, Manning's limping, but Sanders in the slot, releases, goes up the seam. Boy, that was really well designed by Adam Gase.
33-yard pickup to Sanders.
You know, he was inside the 3 receivers, Jim, and then when he released out, really tough to go. When he went up the field, Sharice Wright really had no chance to stay with him.
Peyton with 5 completions that have gone for at least 25. And no gain for Anderson. A couple of plays ago, after the pass interference flag was thrown, this was Peyton. Remember, he had scrambled away from some pressure in the pocket and threw on the run. As he grimaces.
Well, you know this, we all know this. However it feels right now, it's going to feel worse tomorrow. So we know he can play with pain, and of course he's tough. All the starts, never misses time.
2nd and 10. Pass incomplete. Going back to Demarius. And the timing just a fraction off.
Yeah, good job. He had to play it safe. Gatchkar, number 59, reacted pretty quickly. So you got to throw it high and just behind the receiver to protect from the tip football.
Of course, a field goal here would be huge for the Broncos. But if they were to throw it in completion, you'd be talking some 52 yards from this point.
You got to be alert for screens in a situation like this, knowing 6 or 7 yards, a field goal.
And with 1 second on the play clock, timeout called by the Broncos. Gives us a chance to remind you next Saturday, a Saturday edition of Thursday Night Football. That's what it's going to be. Eagles and Redskins on NFL Network, and then Chargers and 49ers on CBS along with the NFL Network. That's next weekend.
Well, the Chargers, I think they hope they don't win here today. A 10-win season would get them into the playoffs. But boy, Jim, so many teams in the same area with records.
Well, just look at the AFC North with all the wins that you have between Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore.
3 right there.
They're going to get at least one wild card team you got to think out of that division.
Yep.
Then you got the likes of Buffalo with a huge win today. They're still in the mix.
Well, they've had a lot of opportunities today against this Denver team, and this is one right now. They have to stop them if they have a good chance to win this game.
3rd and 10. They run it, and Anderson's got room. Anderson's got the first down, but the flag is out. He did not go out of bounds this time, interestingly. I think someone reminded him of that at halftime.
They went with the draw just to get the better position for the 3 points.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both on the offense. Holding, offense number 80, that penalty is declined. Holding, offense number 64, that penalty is accepted. Replay, 3rd down.
So the penalty will take them out of field goal range and bring up 3rd and long.
Well, now on the defensive side, the Chargers have to think you can't just sit back there and play soft defense. You let them pick up 8 to 10 yards. At 10 yards, they're going to try the long field goal. And I would put my extra defenders over number 88 and number 10.
88 at the near side. Peyton looks his way, goes his way, and it's caught by Demaryius Thomas, and that catch puts them right back into field goal range for Connor Barth.
Yeah, what do you do? You know, Jim, what do you do against him? This time he stays pretty square, but boy, that is one nice cut. And how about the throw? That was out of Peyton Manning's hand way before he made the cut.
And it hit him right where it had to be.
That's right.
So it's going to be a 49-yard field goal attempt to make it a 2-score differential. Barth 3 for 3 today. All of the short variety, 9 for 9 as a Bronco. This is biggest kick as a Bronco from 49. The kick is good. Into the net. And 19-10, Denver leads it. Just inside of 5 minutes to play here in San Diego. Well, Peyton Manning last week was 14 out of 20 against Buffalo. He's 14 out of 20 today for 233 yards and a touchdown, no picks.
Well, I think what's really interesting when you watch the Broncos now, it is they truly have revamped their football team that went to the Super Bowl last year. They're, without question, more physical on both sides of the ball, and they can win any type of game. And they're slugging it out here today with the Chargers in great position.
Here's the McManus kick, and he booms it. I think they learned a lesson at New England and at St. Louis.
That's right. They did. They knew they had to get that running game going, and they have done it.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Intel. This is where it all changes. And by Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever.
We're back in San Diego, and the Chargers have 4:53 to try to make up 9. Drive starter goes to Royal, and the forward progress will be spotted at the 23, picks up just 3. Hurry up time for Rivers and company.
Hurry up time for them, and they would love to see more throws. Denver's defense would, just like we saw. Throw it underneath, come up and make the tackle.
They have not sacked Rivers once today, as he's intercepted by Talib. Aqib Talib is brought down at the 34 after the first interception of this game.
Well, this is what you worry about with Aqib Talib. Top of the screen, when it comes this way, watch him. He's going to watch the quarterback, looks inside, cuts underneath, and that's why you always have to be careful throwing inside breaking routes against him.
It was Malcolm Floyd that Rivers was trying to find.
And there was nothing Malcolm Floyd could do. In other words, he couldn't shield him because he came underneath. And that's, I talked about it early in the game. I saw Chris Harris make an interception, and it was almost the same type of coverage. He must have learned that from Aqib Talib.
4:16 to go. Chargers have 3 timeouts. And now it's C.J. Anderson time. That time for a yard. We got an update. James Brown, Bill Cowher have it. Back in New York.
Coach, accuracy through a small window.
Yeah, this big NFC West matchup right here. Paul Richardson's first career touchdown comes from Russell Wilson from 10 yards out. They get a little bit of separation, leading 17-7 over San Francisco.
Phil Simms often told me that small window that's open at the NFL level. Back to Jim Nantz.
JB, coach, thank you. The Niners were leading a good part of that way, 7-3, and now the Seahawks up 10.
Well, I was glad to hear JB actually listen to some of the things I used to tell him, so that was good. But, you know, when you talk about teams, Jim, and you want to be a championship caliber team and win tough games and playoff games, you need guys that can make the play, that do it and win the game, that make the difference. And the Broncos have quite a few of them on each side of the ball, and Talib is one of them.
Coming out of a Charger timeout, leaving them with 2. It's Anderson. Slipped out of a tackle of Gatchkar, loses his helmet, but gets within a couple of another first.
And Manti Te'o just took it off.
A timeout again called by San Diego, leaving the Chargers with 1. Early headlines: the Patriots take the East. They claim the division title, as today they bury the Dolphins, who fall back to 7-7. Cincinnati shuts out Cleveland and Manziel. Absolutely nothing there for the Browns offense today. Blanked at home. And the Colts 17-10 over the Texans. They take the AFC South. Division leaders, New England still in the 1 position. Denver here with a win will be the 2. Still got time here. We're not going to chalk up a win anywhere yet. Indianapolis 3, Cincinnati 4. All those teams in the hunt, the likes of which Buffalo, Kansas City, many others.
Opposite usually always means run.
3rd and 3. Anderson stopped short. So a field goal here by Denver would still keep San Diego in the game. And San Diego takes its last time out.
Yeah, but it does make 2 touchdowns that you need, which puts a whole nother spin on it. But it's a little different, isn't it? Watching as we've watched the last few weeks, it's a little different watching the Denver Broncos now. It's not just spread them out and bombard them with all these throws. They've taken on a new personality. And
yes, they have.
And I'm just saying, I like it. Because if they need to turn that passing game on, I have no doubt that they can do that.
You think it's still there?
I know it is.
Okay.
I mean, Jim, you watch it.
Yep.
These guys, who can cover all these weapons that they have if they need to throw a high number of times?
44-yard field goal try coming up for Barth. Aaron Brewer will snap it back. He's a San Diego State grad. Colquitt on the hold. Barth's already had a 5 field goal game in his debut against the Chiefs. And he's 5 for 5 today on this occasion.
Good kick. Boy, he's coming through in the clutch for him, isn't he? But this has been some battle today. This is just another way. This has to give even Denver, not saying they're going to win the game. It's not over, but a lot of confidence in this style. Managing the game.
Well, it's going to be, if they hold on to it, a 4th straight win. And like you said, we see Denver frequently. And in that 4-game stretch, they did have a game where they had to kind of switch philosophies during the middle of it. They were down against Miami.
That's right.
Went back to the passing game and had a high-powered closing stretch there to win that one.
Well, yeah, you know, look, in this league, it's so tough, and the competition is pretty close together. When you have a team like this that can win many ways, well, of course, when you have many ways to win, your chances of winning more games, progressing into playoffs are just greater. And, you know, like last week, Peyton Manning played arguably against the best pass rush in the NFL with the Buffalo Bills, and he never fell to the ground one time. Now, that's a lot to do with him, too, as fast as he gets rid of the football.
Got a run back here by Davis. What a hit. What a hit put on him by Steven Johnson.
That's why you need a lot of linebackers. You get a lot of linebackers because they got to be the guys that run down. Linebackers have the size and the speed to be excellent special teams players.
This Davis on the return. The Auburn hero who returned that missed field goal against Alabama. One of the great highlights anyone will ever remember. The kick 6 from 109 to beat Bama to win the SEC title a year ago. That was Davis who took that hit right there. Rivers throws it away.
Yeah, look at John Pagano. He knows Today was their day. If you wanted a chance to beat this Broncos team, today was their chance. They got beat up. They stopped them 3 times inside the 10-yard line.
He held them to 1 touchdown. Rivers, there's a good pass. Floyd bounced out.
Well, you're right, Jim. How about that? You hold the Broncos to 22 points. You think, oh my gosh, do we have a great chance to win? Or you expect to win when you hold them to 22 points.
17-yard hook up there with Floyd. It was offside penalty against Denver, which will be declined. For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS. The Broncos and the Chargers. Jim Nance, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson, Lance Barrow, Mike Arnold, and all the crew here. 60 minutes going to be seen in its entirety right after the game, except on the West Coast. First down for San Diego, and Brown wasn't ready for it. And I'll tell you, Todd Davis was if he made the catch.
I'm sitting here thinking, 3 teams that just come to mind quickly. Quick throw here, and there's trouble coming. 3 teams, though, Jim. New England, Denver, Seattle. They make it into a very physical game right now. And that's what they do. They beat you by just being stronger and better at the point of attack.
2nd and 10. Little sidearm swing over to Brown.
Well, can the Chargers find a way to get down here and score? And of course, go for the onside kick.
And if none of that materializes, again, they're going to have to find a way the last 2 games on the road to try to get to 10 wins, which looks like it's going to be a must, and then all kinds of tiebreakers. Yep. At San Francisco and at Kansas City. Looking for the sideline. Floyd gets it. With 2:54 to go.
Really good job, Malcolm Floyd. Knowing the situation, got out of bounds. We'll say this about the Chargers' offensive line. Very good in the second half. They have given Phillip Rivers the opportunity to find open guys and attempt the passes down the field.
From midfield. Pressure on the edges. On the run, Brown juggles it incomplete. Well, they're down 12. But the Chargers did have 2 missed field goals. One that was blocked by Wolf in the first half. That was from 46. And then one from 37. Karam off the left upright. No good. Second and 10. Fights away from the pressure and lobs it over the top, incomplete. Giratutu was on the near side with Chris Harris trying to guard him. Taya Keenan Allen again missed virtually the entire second half, and he is their leading receiver on the season. He's been out with an ankle injury he suffered earlier in this game. That's a big absence.
It is. He's out. Ryan Matthews not running the football. Could have picked up some extra yards for him.
Ladarius Green was inactive for this game off a concussion last week. Here's Rivers. Finds Giratutu. And Moreeeee Giratutu has another first down. Rivers trying to maximize the clock here as we're moving in on the 2-minute warning. That goes for 17.
Once again, I'll tell you, Denver rushing 3, sometimes 4. No pressure on the quarterback.
The payoff play is broken up by Talib, denying Floyd.
Talib once again, great position. Knowing the situation, see how far he's back. If they want to catch something short and go out of bounds, he's going to let them. It's the one thing. Aqib Talib, you hear coaches talk, smart.
Talib comes out after breaking that one up. Tony Carter takes his place. Whistle first. Timeout called by Denver because I really believe that last-second substitution, they wanted to make sure that defense was set.
This is their first charge team timeout.
Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, followed by the season premiere of Undercover Boss and new episodes of The Mentalist and CSI. Tonight only CBS. A week ago, the Patriots sacked Phillip Rivers 4 times. That's a season high for a defense getting to Rivers. He has not been sacked here once today.
No, he has not. Now the first half. Now that's misleading sometimes. He got rid of the football, but boy, was he throwing under some tight circumstances. But second half, he's had room.
And Chris Harris, I tell you, start talking about Broncos who were shaken up or have been taken out of the game because of injury. Pretty long list.
Well, his shoe is untied.
That's all that. Well, all right. Well, Talib, though, we were concerned about him a moment ago. They took the timeout. They brought him back into the lineup. But you've seen Trevathan, you've seen Manning. And others. 2nd and 10. And again avoiding the sack. Going deep and incomplete. And another flag. Flags back at the 5-yard line. Gates was the receiver.
It's a big penalty. Get a play off before.
Got a flag on the near side, too. There's nowhere in the area. That one that had to do something with Gates and a Bronco defender.
Well, Rivers once again escapes.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both on the defense. Holding, defense number 29. That penalty is declined. Pass interference, defense number 43. That penalty is accepted. The ball is placed with a spotted foul. First down.
Bottom of the screen, Bradley Roby. That's a good call.
And then this one called on TJ Ward.
Oh, he's got the jersey. Pull it.
That was called interference, and that puts the football at the spot of the infraction at the 7. 26-yard penalty. 2:05 to go.
Looks like they're going to keep 2 people with Antonio Gates.
End zone intercepted. Raheem Moore. The second interception in this 4th quarter by the Denver defense, and that will do it. Broncos on their way to winning the AFC West. Again tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes. Season premiere of Undercover Boss. New episodes of The Mentalist and CSI. Tonight only CBS. Chargers, no timeouts.
Well, let's look at the interception, Jim, that seals this victory. TJ Ward lets the tight end come inside. Raheem Moore reads the quarterback. That is very well played by TJ Ward and Raheem Moore. And well, Raheem Moore has turned into a really solid NFL safety.
Let's give a nod here to a guy that was really raised here in San Diego, went to San Diego State. That would be Coach John Fox. Moved here at the age of 15, actually, the son of a Navy SEAL. Went to high school, junior college, college here. Began his coaching career here, not only for his alma mater, the Aztecs, but also at U.S. International. And a year ago when this game was played here, that was the first game he missed because of the heart surgery.
That's right.
Now he comes back to San Diego this year.
Look at that look. Man, that's some head of hair.
Is that Roger Daltrey, or is that John Fox?
Yeah, I know. It looks like Roger Daltrey a little, but he's got to be really proud of his team. They fought through a lot of adversity this year. They went in a slump. They recovered. Not only that, Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator, but Peyton Manning had a tremendous performance under the circumstances today. Not feeling well and getting that thigh, I guess, beat up. Came through and got it done.
4 straight division titles for Fox. The first year with Tebow, the next 3 with Manning, and only Chuck Knox is the only other coach could ever say that his first 4 years with the team he won the division every year. Foxy has done that here.
They've really done excellent job of stocking this roster, and you constantly in this league got to reinvent yourself a little bit to overcome when people start finding your weaknesses, and they've done that. This team is going to be tough.
Well, here's a look at the AFC playoff picture. Now the wild card spots at the moment, Pittsburgh and Baltimore are in 5th and 6th positions. Kansas City's actually now ahead of San Diego in the standings based on tiebreakers at the moment, and they're going to be meeting week 17 at Arrowhead. 22-10 final score. Broncos take it. Again tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, Undercover Boss, Good Wife, and CSI. For Phil and Tracy, this is Jim Nance saying so long from San Diego. The Broncos are the champions of the AFC West. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.